Welcome everyone to another episode of Two Men No Hope. I was trying to write some show tunes for like an intro for the show, and I thought the best song in the world would be The Two of Us. Doesn't that just fit perfectly? It's not. I haven't written it, but I just thought myself, that's amazing.
What? Just the
two of us. Yeah, we can make it if we try. Two Men No Hope. That's a song that had been written for us before we'd even started the podcast.
I thought you was going to say you were getting Ben to write us a show tune then from last episode.
Oh shit! I didn't even fucking think of that. But there's an email I'll be sending later. Because I was listening to because I listened to the Armchair Expert with Dak Shepard, and the beginning of his is like he's an armchair expert, and it carries on, and then I was listening.
Like a little jingle.
Yeah, and I was listening to Smartless with Will Arnett. Oh, what the fuck is his name? The guy from Ozark, and then the guy from Will and Grace. They've got a podcast called Smartless.
Okay.
And then theirs is the same. Their thing goes like, I can't remember what it goes, but it says Smartless in it. So I'm trying to think of tunes that go along with Two Men No Hope, and I tell you what, man, it's like impossible.
Yeah, it's hard because it's more than one word as well. It's
Yeah,
like a phrase, isn't it?
I don't know. And then I'm the kind of person as well that like I heard the Armchair Expert, and then I'm just singing their tune
With us in
like,
it.
yeah. So if there's anyone out there that does music that wants to write us a little intro jingle, like we'll take it.
Yeah, if it's good. If it's dog shit, we'll just
say
copper it round the back.
We'll say thank you and use it once, and then
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Always polite. How you doing, Jamie, man?
I'm good. What was I doing? I was working this weekend, so I've had a pretty average fucking normal working weekend where I did fuck all. On the Sunday, me and Charlotte had a few drinks, as you do.
Yeah.
Got pretty wavy. Charlotte was doing this thing that was cracking me up, yeah. Charlotte was drunk, yeah. And she was on her knees eating Dominoes in the living room. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm fine. And she's picked up a chicken, like one of them little chicken dipper things, and she's dipping it in a sealed dip, Dan. The fucking dip was sealed. So she's just fucking dipping it into nothing, yeah. Then I was like, just go to bed. And she was like, no, I'm finishing my chicken. So she sat there and fucking munched it, yeah. Then all of a sudden, she just got up and went, and just ran up the stairs and fucked off. And all I could hear was snoring in like 10 minutes time and that.
Sometimes you like, I wish I had like a TV to what's going on in your brain right now.
I was sitting there, I was just like, do I go up and make sure she's alright? Or just, what I decided to do is put on some basketball highlights and sat there and chilled out.
I'm sure you did. Oh, saying about basketball, just because I recognised your hat. I was listening to Dak Shepard's, I can't remember who he had, what guest he had on with him. Oh, the guy from Big Mouth, you know, the comedian. He was in League of Your Own, whatever that one you liked.
Oh, The League.
The
Nick.
League. Yeah. He's got that weird voice, isn't he?
Yeah.
The little guy. They were talking like he doesn't like wearing headphones like we do because he doesn't like the sound of his own voice. Like, he doesn't say he doesn't like it. It's just after a while he gets annoyed of hearing it.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
And then he goes to Dax, oh, I thought you were going to keep your cap on. And he goes, oh, no, I just wear it because I didn't want to do my hair. And then I take it off because only, douchebags wear their headphones over their hat. And then he was like, yeah, it stays a sort of a statement about insecurity. Then he goes, yeah, it's like they're either like massively bald or they've got something going on under there they don't want people to see. And I'm just like, oh, I've got to try and clip that and send that to Jamie.
Fucking bastards. I'm neither of them things. Well, what it is my hair is 100. Like, I have a hairnet on at work. So then by the time I'm getting to this stage in the day, my hair is wrecked. So if I was to try and sit here with my hair out, I would look like I've got a bush on my head.
But now that you've got to the point that if we ever did anything live or showed up anywhere, you can't not take your hat off because people won't recognise you.
I know. I swear we got. Do you remember when we went to Birmingham? Someone commented saying Jamie's not wearing his hat. I'm sure someone did when
I
we
can't
were on night
remember.
out.
But yeah, you've stuck it now. But then it helps me because when I've recently been behind with the YouTube, not that anyone watches it, but we never save the videos on Riverside as the number of the episode. But I can tell that it's what episode it is from what hat you're wearing.
To be fair, that's how I get through my TikToks as well, to know where I'm at. I'm like, oh, that episode's finished because that I've changed the hat. But then sometimes I confuse myself because I forget that I've worn the same hat within like a 4-week rotation.
Yeah, I do the same with like t-shirts as well. I'm like, I don't know if you start doing it as well. So when I'm at work and I'm trying to like switch off, today I was on the Graham Norton show for an hour and a half in my brain, like doing full on interviews and stuff like that. But I now realise that when I do anything, I now say it in my head as if I'm talking to you on the podcast.
Oh, really? Like
Yeah,
you're
so
narrating it.
yeah, as I'm going along, like everything I do now.
I have gotten in trouble, which I'm going to admit is quite funny, especially when I was in Portugal with my family and that, yeah. I was like testing bits on them that I thought was funny that I was going to bring to you to see if they found it funny. I was going to bring it to you, and then Mum was like, "What are you talking about? You're talking total random shit," and I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just talking about stuff that I'm interested in."
I think that works too, though. If your mum or your dad don't give a fuck, you should probably talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah. Like, I kept trying to test this joke on them where Mum and Dad were tanning so much over there compared to me and Charlotte, and they kept saying it was because they have older skin, and I was like, it's because they look like a pair of farmer's eggs, do you know, like the little brown eggs. And they did not find that funny at all.
No, because you're insulting them. I couldn't imagine it either.
I was like, every time I turn around, they're sitting there with the two brown heads. I was like, look at them pair of farmer's eggs sitting there, and no one was laughing at my joke.
Yeah, but then you get into that rut where you're like, I know that's funny, and no one's taking any attention, so I'm just going to keep saying it until someone notices.
And then they had a whole conversation with me in the taxi, being like, if you brought that to Dan, he'd laugh because he's got your sense of humour. And I was just like, no, it's funny. It's fucking funny. That's why. Even the taxi driver laughed. And he's Portuguese, don't know what we're talking about.
Must be that dog thing where you're just saying it in a certain tone that makes him laugh, Jamie.
Yeah, yeah.
Dickhead.
That's a throwback, Dan. That's a throwback joke.
Oh yeah, I know. Do it subconsciously now. My brother had his mate. I think I spoke to about him before. He was going travelling, so he did a bit of America and Mexico for a couple months, and now he's staying in Australia. I think he's there for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So he come back over, and my brother went down to meet him for a week, and then he come up here for the weekend. And he told me a story, and I haven't asked him where I could tell it, but I'm not going to tell his name, and I don't think he gives a fuck, to be honest. He's quite I think he's never bumped into embarrassment before. I think is the only way I could put it.
A shameless person.
Yeah, he'll just fucking. He come over and he had like for a full week. He had something like 2 pairs of shorts and like 3 shirts.
Fucking hell.
And he was wearing flip flops. He didn't have any shoes. He just wore flip flops because he's been in Australia. So he's travelled from Australia to England. It's pissing down with rain for most of the time. And he's wearing flip-flops.
Mate.
Anyway,
I think someone would lend him a pair of shoes or something.
He wouldn't wear them. That's what I mean. He has no, he doesn't give a fuck. So we went, it was my granddad's birthday. We didn't realise on the Saturday. So we went for a quick drink.
Mm.
And he was saying that when he was in Mexico, obviously he was eating all the Mexican food, of course.
Yeah.
But him and his missus went to this restaurant or bar or whatever, and they were going to have dinner. And all of a sudden, he's like, oh, I need to fart. So him being him, just fucking let's rip. And then, because of all the food and stuff, it wasn't just a fart.
Oh no.
So he's in this Mexican restaurant, yeah, and he full on like shits himself. So he gets up and shuffles to the toilet, and then he presses the light, and it's one of them lights, like the energy saver. So it's a button that lasts like 20 seconds, and then it pops off and it goes pitch black. So
Yeah.
he's like, I went into the bathroom, I pressed the light, I got into one of the cubicles, I've got my trousers around my ankles, scooping out shit, putting it
Oh,
into the
man.
toilet, and then all of a sudden it just goes boop, and the light goes off.
And he's in the pitch black trying to deal with that shit.
Yeah. So he's like a fucking penguin, comes out, shuffles across this pitch black toilet, presses the button, goes back. He does this like 3 or 4 times, and then he comes out and he's like, "We've got to go." She's like, "But my chips haven't turned up yet." And he's like, "Fuck your chips." He's like, "Get in the car." He gets in the car and she's like really upset. And she's like, "Why can't we stay and eat? And I'm really hungry." And he's like, "Because I've shit myself." What a poor fucking guy. But I mean, it's Mexico, and I mean, I thought it could be harsh. He gives a
I
fuck.
feel as though it's almost a term of endearment in Mexico. I feel as though that's what happens to a lot of people.
They eat so much fucking cream and like sour cream and like everything's covered in it. I'm not surprised that people are shitting themselves.
Oh mate, when I was in Mexico, I one night I had an insane steak, yeah, which rare meat always gets my fucking stomach going. The next day, I had like this. It was like a burrito, but it had more cheese in it than fucking anything else. And Jesus Christ, I was in a swimming pool, and do you know when you're just like, oh fuck, you're like sitting there, you're just like, oh no, something's gonna happen here. I'm on the 7th floor of my room, and I'm in the swimming pool, and I'm thinking, how the fuck am I gonna make it from here to the 7th floor without it fucking becoming a national fucking incident? Do you know what I mean? I made it, but fuck me, that was one of the scariest times of my life. Because if that ever happened to me in public, I don't think I'd leave the house again.
No, shitting is a massive fucking nah. Fuck that.
I think Charlotte would just look at me in disgust, just be like, "Look at this! What I've married this!
I can
I've
hear her
married
saying that as well.
this man."
She wouldn't even hold it in. She'd just turn to you and be like, "You're disgusting, Jamie.
Yeah,
Jay, you're disgusting, Jay."
she 100% will. Yeah, 100%.
I was talking to one of my bosses at work, and I was going to bring it up in the podcast. So I can't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about somebody getting drunk or something like that, and then we were talking about the football, and he was like, "Oh, when the World Cup's on, he takes a week off, and he has a drink like at each game." And he's like, "But I've been up since 5 o'clock, and the game doesn't start till 12." So he's like, "I've got a good fucking, what is it, 7 hours in before
The game
I mean?
starts.
Yeah." So he's like, if someone got up at 9 and was up for 7 hours, it'd be okay for them to drink. But because I've been up at 5 and it's 12, that's wrong. And I was like, well, you got to look at it from the point of view of like, because everyone's got a stigma around day drinking, right? Like, oh, are you gonna have one of them now? But day drinking is just you spreading the drinks out. So like when you go on a night out, you've only got like 3 hours,
Yeah,
which
so
is
you
why
go
you
mental.
get absolutely fucking wrecked, and you just drink as much as you can. But if you day drink like on holiday, you start early and you're still drinking till fucking midnight, and you're not even you're trolley by then. I was like, day drinking, if anything, is better for you, surely.
Yeah, it's dangerous with you feel as though you're fine, and then all of a sudden you're fucking wrecked. But there's been a few times it's only acceptable to drink at 4 a.m. when you wake up in the airport. Of course, you're allowed your airport beer.
Oh, Jamie can't fly without a drink.
Yeah, I need to have a drink before getting on the plane. I feel sick on the plane otherwise. And then,
I have to do the opposite. I can't intake anything.
oh really? Is
Yeah,
that because your stomach though?
Yeah, because I worry about. And I did that when I was going to Canada. I had to fly to America, and then I got to the airport. I was like, oh, I feel pretty good. My stomach's, there's no feeling or anything like that. I'll have a coffee. I took one sip of it and then threw it away and went and sat on the toilet. I was like, nah, that was stupid.
Mate, that's probably one of the worst things you could have bought as well to fucking ingest.
And I think they fucked up my order as well, so I think there was dairy in it. But I managed to get all the way to Canada, all right. But yeah, no.
So you didn't eat or nothing the whole journey from Britain to Canada?
I requested a vegan meal, so I had it was shite. It was just mostly fruit.
Yeah, and fucking nuts or something.
Yeah, I can't even remember what they gave me for. Oh,
Probably
I
some
think it
kind
was
of.
like a vegan pasta thing,
That's
and
not
I
bad.
dropped a bit on my white t-shirt, and because it's vegan, it's like bleach. It's the stain is still on the t-shirt now; it won't come out like a red spot on it. Curse into the heavens was for that one. Um, yeah, no, Karen, yeah, you're saying about drinking.
Yeah, and like when it comes to when you're on holiday, it's from me. It's like from 12 o'clock onwards. You can get on it, but there has been times where I'm at peak like hangover stage, and I'm like when it's like 10 o'clock when they open the bar on the holiday. I'm just like, right, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go and get a beer, otherwise I'm gonna die.
I would
And
just
just
get one just to
slowly
deal
make
with
my
the
way through the
heat.
day. What was that?
I would just get one just to deal with the heat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's acceptable on holiday, isn't it? If I was at home and Charlotte was going to work at 9 a.m. and I was cracking a beer open on my day off, Charlotte would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Have we not done that? Have I not been down and been like, we started
Yeah,
drinking like
yeah, we have. When me and you are together, I think she expects it when me and you are together. All she does is go, all you guys do is eat crap and drink loads of alcohol. I was like, well, we need the crap to soak up the alcohol, Charlotte, because otherwise, me and Dan would have died of alcohol poisoning 2 days ago.
I don't know how. And like, because obviously it's different now, right? Because obviously I would assume that I would come down with Sabina, I wouldn't come down on my own.
Hmm.
So it's like I know she could keep up, but I don't know if she could handle it. Because we got up and we were like, I've said this before, like you order everything. Like you were like,
Yeah,
oh, we've run out of bin bags, so you put in an Uber for a bin bags and a pack of cigarettes.
yeah.
I was
It
like,
was a lot easier when I smoked because then that had justified me buying stuff. But now I can't do that. So now I have to actually physically go out, and it pisses me off.
and just for the listeners, he has like a co-op at not even like 3 minutes from his house.
Dan, you've been inside that shop. It's a
Oh yeah,
shithole.
there's nothing in there, but I'm just saying, like you have the ability to leave and get stuff.
Yeah, to be fair, it's changed. Well, the listeners won't give a shit, but it's changed it to a different place now. It's a Budgeons now, and it's
Oh,
much better.
I was gonna say yeah for that fucking piece of shit before. Yeah, like when I was staying with you, we'd get up and it was like two breakfast baguettes, a
Mm.
couple donuts, and like maybe like a sausage roll, and
Yeah.
then we'd have a couple drinks and be like, "What are we having for lunch?" And we'd be like, "Oh, I don't know. Oh, let's just get a Greg's order, couple pasties, a sandwich."
Because
And
as
then
the
we're
day
like,
goes on, the food gets less and less important.
and then we're eating, having other drinks, and then Charlotte's come home and she's like, "What do you want for dinner?" And we're like, "Oh, I can't bother to cook. Let's just order something." There's another like, and then there was that night we ordered something, was still drinking. Charlotte went to bed, and I'm like, "Dude, I fucking want a burger or something, man." So then we
Oh
ordered again,
yeah, I was like,
ordered
"You're
again.
gonna eat at this time," and you were like, "Yeah."
And then I was like, "Do you want anything?" And you're like, "Yeah."
I remember Charlotte going, "You two can't live together because if you ever lived together, that would be the end of the fucking like your heart would give out within a few months." And I was like, "Nah." I said we couldn't carry on like that. I'd said I'd be broke within a couple of days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. We spent a lot of money that weekend.
We did on crap, on crap.
I still do it up here though. Like I said to Sabina last weekend, because like I go to hers on Friday and she comes back to mine. We stop at Morrison's
Yeah,
to get some stuff for dinner, and we always get like snacks and that. And then on the Saturday, we're like, oh, let's cook this or cook that, and I haven't got that. So then we go back again. And then on the Sunday, I'm like, oh, I didn't pick anything up for my work week, so I've got to go back again. Last weekend, I spent £120 in 3 days just going to Morrison's.
fuck me, man. Jesus,
It's mental, isn't it?
it is.
But it's
Mental.
so hard to get out of that because everything's so more expensive now, and that's not my excuse. And I've got terrible planning. But it's like, oh, I want to cook something nice. You don't have nice things in your fridge just ready to fucking cook a dinner.
No, that's why a lot of the time now we just do the Ocado shops because it's so much easier to. We can plan the week out, especially because we're eating healthy all the time, trying to lose weight.
Hmm.
We plan the week out, and then that stops me from doing my usual go-to thing and going like, oh, I'll just fucking get this in, or I'll just get that in, or I'll just do this because the food's in the house. I have no excuse.
Mm.
That's the only thing that keeps me from fucking swaying down the old paths.
See, I'm terrible because when I'm not with Sabina, I don't get anything in. So like, I'll come home and I'll sit in like my house. There's like no food, and I'll be like, oh, I've got to go to fucking Asda. So then I'll go to Asda and I'll be like, oh no, I've got stuff in the cupboards. I'll just get stuff for tonight, and then I'll get home and I'll eat everything that I've bought, literally everything that I bought, and then it'll happen again the next day, and I'm like, oh, but I'm only home for a few nights because then I go to Sabina's on a Thursday. Oh, I'll just
And
go
that's
back
when
to
you
Asda.
end up eating weird shit out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight for dinner, I ate an entire Arctic roll.
What the fuck is an Arctic roll?
It's like an old person, like a proper old person dessert, like your
Oh, is
nan
it
and
dessert?
granddad within it. Yeah, yeah. It's like a Swiss roll, but it's full of raspberry ice cream, raspberry ripple ice cream.
Fuck me. What, you had that as your dinner?
Yeah,
Dan.
I literally just I put the block on a plate, and then I just sat there with a fork. Just fucking ate it.
You need Sabina needs to like fucking plan some days out for you or something, man.
This is the thing that makes me laugh, though, right? It's like I'm losing weight because when I go to see her, she makes like these amazing like salmon bowls, and like she'll leave me leftovers for like my lunch at work, and then we'll cook things and everything like that. And then when it comes to my days of my own, I'm just like a fucking animal again. I've said this before. I'm just like a fucking.
I didn't realise it was Arctic roll by itself for dinner animal.
It sounds really depressing, but I can't. I was just watching the telly, just eating it. It didn't even cross my mind. Like if someone walked past the window and was like, "That guy's about to kill himself tonight." like, like he's got like I don't know the hose from his exhaust in his window, and he's eating his last meal with an Arctic roll, or he's got he's got the toaster upstairs, dropping it in the bath. You know. The only thing that made it worse if I was sitting in my pants eating it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing but my boxers.
Completely naked, just wearing a fucking plate.
Eating an Arctic roll. Fully well aware that I'm lactose intolerant and it's like ice cream.
Fuck it. Oh man. Do you not just like have like a craving like for dinner? I would need something that's like savoury, warm, like a meal, like a dinner.
So I didn't realise that people with ADHD, their body physically like craves processed food.
Oh really?
So like when I go on like a diet and things like that, like I'll get days where I physically feel like my body needs like a fucking can of Coke or like something like, and when I drink it, I'll feel like someone's giving me fucking adrenaline or something. That's not an excuse. I do get, but I come home and I just eat anything that's just in front of me. So like the thought of like making something is so like strenuous, almost like saving someone's life, that I'll just. Which is why I can't.
Frozen.
Yeah, I just fucking
freezer.
Yeah, I mean, I started making these muffins. And I came home the other day and had 3 left. And you know, a normal person would be like, "Oh, there's 3 days of muffins." Well, no, because for Dan, that's 3 minutes of muffins. I literally got the 3 of them, unwrapped the 3, put them on one plate, and then ate them as if they were one single unit.
Fuck it.
And then I was like, well, I guess that was my dinner then. And then I walked away and just left it. You know what I mean?
So you literally ate some muffins and that was your dinner that day?
I think, was that the day that I went berserk and I had... That might have been the day that I actually made myself dinner, and then when I sat down to eat it, didn't want it. And ended up throwing half of it away.
Fuck.
I can't remember what it was. Yeah.
I'd be like... Do you remember that? Is it Sausage Party, that film?
Oh, I love sausage party. Yeah.
Oh, if that was in your house, Dan, all of the food would be screaming because they wouldn't know what the fuck's going on. It would be like a mental asylum for food.
It's either gone out of date and I haven't thrown it away, or it hasn't been in my house long enough to like breathe the air of my house. Sabrina's lucky that my mum bought her some chocolate and sweets for her birthday, and she's lucky they're still down there because I keep forgetting because she put them in my bookcase.
Oh, right. It's not because you're not like being thoughtful and leaving them for her.
Oh no, just because I never think. But there'll be one day where I've got no junk food in the house.
Yeah.
I've done this before, and I'll be sitting there, and then I'm just going through every place in my house where I've had food, and I'm like, where the fuck are...
Hamster.
I was going through one of those phases, and I used to have this like table in the front room. I was fucking going through my house. I was opening boxes. I was like, oh, I think I opened in like my fucking tables next to my bed. Who opened to look for food, and then I sat down in my front room, and I was like, Mum bought me some fucking sweets at Christmas. Where did I put them? And then I opened this little drawer on the table in front of me. Wham! There's a fucking whole packet of blackjacks in there. I was like, fucking bonus. And I ate one, and it didn't taste of anything. And I was like,
It's gone out of date.
yeah, 3 years.
Jesus Christ. You're lucky you didn't die.
Yeah, I am lucky because I kept on eating them.
Fucking hell. The
Hey,
worst recently, me and Charlotte, just before I got paid last, because we were out so much, we let all the food run down in the house.
Mm.
And Charlotte kept doing this thing where she'd call me up and she'd be like, I'm on my day off and she's at work. She'd call me up and be like, what have you had for lunch? I'd be like, oh, nothing. She'd be like, why? I'll be like, because there's nothing in the fridge. And there's stuff in the fridge that I could have used, like eggs and fucking turkey bacon and all that shit. Look at it. I just open the fridge, look at it, and just close the fridge. I'm like, I'm not fucking going near that, yeah?
Yeah.
And then Charlotte was like, what, there's nothing in the fridge at all? There's no bread in the cupboard? And I was like, I looked in the cupboard, there was some bread there, and I was like, yeah. And I just closed the door. And then she'd come home and she made like this really like Instagram looking dish with like an omelette on it and fucking avocado and all this shit on the fucking plate. Made it look amazing. And I've been sitting there all day just like eating nothing. I had a couple of jelly beans that I'd found on the fucking in the cupboard that day. And I was living like a pauper and she was living like a fucking Instagram person, innit?
Yeah,
She's
Sabrina
like,
does the same
you
thing.
just open the cupboard up and you say there's nothing there. I'm like, yeah, there isn't anything there. She's like, there's this, there's this. I'm just like, no, I don't want none of that. I want to go shopping.
Yeah, no, Sabrina does the same thing. Like we had, she cooked a chicken on Saturday. It was fucking banging, and there was loads of it left over. And she's like, "Do you want to take some?" And I know full well I won't gonna eat it. Like, I could take it, but it's just gonna get thrown away. So I was like, "No, you keep it."
Yeah.
Since Sunday, she's been making all these different things with it, and I'm like, "Why don't you just eat the chicken? Why are you mixing it with things? I would just sit and eat it raw. No, not raw, like cold. I would just pull bits off it like an animal." Because I don't care about
Sometimes that
myself.
can backfire on you though, because I had a. Do you remember the COVID Christmas where Boris Johnson told us we couldn't go and see our family?
Yeah, which I did anyway.
Yeah, well, me and Charlotte didn't. Yeah, and we cooked Christmas dinner at home, and Charlotte, like, obviously, turkey crown between two people was fucking a lot of food.
Yeah.
And we were already eating and drank a lot during the day because obviously we drink a lot anyway. And then I was like, Charlotte was like, oh, I can do like Thai curries with this and I can do this and that with it. It was the bane, that turkey was the bane of my fucking life for over a week, Dan. It was in sandwiches, it was in curries, it was in broths. Oh, I by the end of the fucking Christmas, I literally had enough of turkey in it. I was like, I'm done. Fuck turkey. Fucking pale arse, dry arse bitch food, man. Fucking hated it by the end of it.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. It's like I was listening to someone else because they were talking about that whole thing about they've okayed to make, diarrhea chicken instead of real chicken.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm not eating that shit. And they were like, like you get so much from a chicken. They're saying the same thing. They're like, oh, you can use the bones for like this, and you can use this and use that. And I'm like, why don't you just eat the fucking chicken?
Exactly.
That's, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't care about all that fancy stuff. And I'm the sort of guy as well. Like I've meal prepped, and I've still got stuff frozen from my meal prep because after 2 days, I'm like, I don't want to eat this anymore. This was Saturday, Dan's idea to eat this. Monday, Dan doesn't want this anymore, so I'm not eating it.
To be fair, I've got a lot better with meal prep. For work, I'll have meal prep stuff all the time now. But it takes a lot. It does take a lot for me to get into that mode.
No, fuck that. No, not a chance. Anyway, once again, we've gone off rambling. It's lucky the fucking listeners aren't had enough of us. Before we start the emails, I just wanted to say that me and Jamie have submitted ourselves for a podcast awards. We would appreciate like if you go to British Podcast Awards website and just give us a little thing. Obviously, we're not expected to win, but we just want people to see our names there. Get used to it before we are there properly.
Before we become the people's choice.
People's choice.
We want people to at least see us on the list.
I want to be one of those actors that they're like, oh, they've been nominated for Podcast of the Year, People's Choice, Comedy Award of the Year, Mental Health. I want my legs to be tired. I've gone up so many times. But yeah, if you could go to British Podcast Awards, and it takes like 2 seconds. You just got to put the name of our podcast in, Two Men No Hope, and then your name and email address, and they'll send you an email, and you just confirm your vote. And then you never know, Jamie. You never know.
Easy as that.
Yeah, easy as that. And we might even just get a little courtesy email to say that this many people voted for you. You never know.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah. But, yeah, if you could do that. Before that, obviously, follow us and leave us those stars. Make sure you follow because it gives you updates. We're always adding new content, and it'll tell you as soon as it goes up, so you don't want to miss out on that. Right, Jamie, I've got my written out spiel. Just because I've written
now.
Just because I've written it out now, yeah. And I'm a pro at read. I'm a pro reader. From all my fucking, I tell you, man, I started reading that Greek book from my stories on the Wednesday,
oh, yeah.
and I was like, oh, I'm pretty good with Greek gods. I've seen Hercules, like everyone. Fucking hell, the last story, there was just a paragraph of these names, and I had to stop. And like, if I didn't edit it, you could hear me muttering under my breath, like I was gonna fucking quit, because I had to go on YouTube, put the name in to pronounce it, then go back, pronounce it. Then it comes up again and I've forgotten it. So then I had to go back and fucking listen to it again.
See, this is the work. This is pulling back the curtain, guys. This is the work Dan's putting into his story episodes.
But I said thanks to everyone on which would be this week's Wednesday's episode. Because I've seen a massive improvement. Like my editing is much easier now. Like I basically just sit there and listen to myself for 30 minutes, and then so I hope people can notice as well that like the emails are a little bit smoother.
Yeah, they must do, because I have. Yeah. I've noticed that it's much better.
Yeah, and even though Ben kept getting the emails wrong, but I don't know if that's because of the accent. I don't know. Or he wasn't really listening.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, we'll get on with it. I've only had like a stubby can of fucking cider. Please remember that all the opinions in the show are those of the host and should only be taken as food for thought. We are in no way telling you to do anything, etc. Everything is kept anonymous for the safety of the listeners, and no information is shared to anyone else. If you are easily offended by people's opinions or views, then thank you for making it this far, but this is not the podcast for you. See you later. Now please enjoy the show. I have to record that and I'll just be like, boom, read it out like a fucking wrestling promoter.
Do it like I ad, like our advertisements that we do.
What's the monster truck when he's like Wednesday, Wednesday, Wednesday? Everyone get your tickets for the monster truck show.
Monster Mayhem.
Right. First email. The back and forth with you boys has me in bits. Keep it up. I see you guys being at the top of the podcast one day. So do I. That's why I was pre-interviewing myself on Graham Norton this morning. But Dan, sorry, you are one of my favourite people on this earth, but you are certainly wrong about your pronunciation of Argus. It's wrong, and it's not an easy way to say it either. But your defending is always being funny. You are now being introduced to Stubborn Dan, and I don't give a fuck. You'll see the part of my dad that I try and bury down deep. I have a query for you guys. I have a new girl and she's a good laugh and I like her. She's great in bed, but she is into a lot more extreme stuff than me and it makes me feel slightly inadequate. I drunkenly let her put her finger up my arse while giving head and I hated it. And it made me feel really weird at the time and now she keeps pretending she's going to do it during foreplay and it makes me lackluster and unable to perform properly because of the pressure. How do you think I can get through this? I do not want to end things, but I also feel out of my depth. Thanks, boys. Sabina tries to do this to me all the time, and I hate it. Like, when we're like, I can't walk upstairs in front of her now, because she'll, like, try and poke my ass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's never a thing I've had to worry about with Charlotte, ever. But there has been girls in the past where they're obsessed with anything weird like that.
We had a full-on, like, play fight. Because she thought it was funny to try and do it, and I was like having to like fucking hold her back. And she goes to the gym and I don't, and you think to yourself, oh Dan, you're a big guy, you're a butcher. And I'm like, you come and find me at fucking 7 o'clock in the morning, and I can't even open a fucking bottle of water, let alone fight off a girl that goes to the gym 3-4 times a week. She almost threw me off the bed, like I lifted into the air. Like full on fucking, it actually scared me. I don't know how children do it. Yeah, there's a little bit of like, I don't know if anyone else feels, but I feel a bit like, because guys always expect to stick it in girls' asses, you got to sort of just deal with it, because you're like, you can't be like, don't do that, because they'll be like, well, I let you put it in my ass.
Yeah, well, I'd just be like, well, my ass is out of bounds. There is like a quarantine level tape around my ass. Like, you do not go near it.
See, the thing with me is like, because I've had so many problems with my stomach, doctors, if you go to the doctor and you say, I've got a problem with my stomach, they immediately put their fingers in you. So that's that association that I've got. Like, I don't like anything back there because I automatically associate with being ill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, but then I have that same, like I just said, like I feel bad for like, don't fucking touch me.
Nah, that's what I'd be like. I've physically screamed aloud.
There's
like
guys that fucking love it though.
There is guys that love it. There's some people are into that shit, and if, like, unfortunately for our listener, if you express that you're not into it and she still wants to go there, then maybe you're not a fit sexually. But when it comes to me and Charlotte, I've never had to worry about that side of things, which has suited me down to the ground. But I have had girls that will not leave it alone, and I'm just like, bruv, get away from me.
Like, Sabina's never tried it. Like I say about she does it like when we're
like jokingly.
Yeah, like we're walking up the stairs and she'll like do it and I'll be like, what are you doing? She's never tried to do it like that way. But yeah, no, I've done it before, and the same thing. It's like it's almost like a submission thing, right? Like you're submitting to someone.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
And that's what I am in some way submitted, but not into the point where I feel like a pet.
Yeah, like some guys are into pegging, innit? Like, I'm just not into that whatsoever. Like, I remember karate chopping a girl's arm as it was going down there, Because I was like, no, we're not doing that.
Sometimes you like if like a girl's going down on me and she's like playing with my balls, I will completely feel like because I'm like if she fucking carries on going, so then I'm starting to lose my focus because all I can think about is like why is her hands down there? Like
Yeah,
what are you doing?
that's what's happening with this guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because she's like pretending she's got her. He's like losing the libido. Is it libido?
Yeah, but women think that guys are just sort of like switches, like, oh, they're horny all the time. Like, it doesn't matter what happens because he can get it up. And it's like, no, there's a lot of like,
Depends on a lot of things, especially as you
yeah,
get older. The amount of alcohol you ingested is a massive factor.
work, stress,
Yeah.
things on your mind.
A lot of people smoke weed nowadays, and that used to affect me badly.
A lot of like mental health, drugs and things. But anyway, we're getting away from the point. I don't think you saying to her, look, I'm being serious. It makes me feel really uncomfortable and I don't want to do it. Isn't going to end you guys. Like
No.
she's obviously doing it because it's the same thing with like last episode with the guy losing his hair, right? Is that if you show some sort of weakness, like it's called in the UK we call it banter. So she's done it to you and you've gone like, no, I don't like that. But now it's almost like, oh well, that was funny for you to squirm.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. She's kind of bantering.
Yeah. And she's just picking the wrong time to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Same thing,
100%.
like, and if you told your guy mates, they'd probably do the same thing as well. If you come to my work, there's fingers in arseholes all fucking day. That's probably another reason why I don't like it. There's a guy, a Filipino guy, that lets out this squeal like a girl. And when people go to like put their finger in his arsehole, because obviously like you would. So every now and again when we like stop or like it's a bit slow, you just hear him going, ah, ah, ah. Because everyone's bored and they're just like, this is funny. And so they go and try and stick their finger in his ass.
Poor bloke.
It's
Getting
mental, isn't it?
absolutely molested at work.
Yeah. And everyone just fucking laughs. And then everyone copies him and everyone in the fucking hall's going, wow, like all together. It's fucking crazy.
Nah, it's never been a thing for me. Never been a thing for me, man. And like, I just don't think, as Dan said, I don't think it's a make it or break it for your partner. I think that she's most likely doing it for a joke to wind you up.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's a lot more than just a wind up to you. So I would, as we always say, communicate.
Yeah.
Do it amicably. Don't be like screaming at her like I did and karate chopping her arm away. Like, I got away with that purely because it was a new relationship.
I can just imagine doing the thing where like every time she goes to do it, you like flick her forehead.
I remember she was like, she'd be down there and she'd be like moving her hand towards me and I'd be like, nope. I'd just like slap it away. No, that ain't happening.
It's like someone trying to steal your food in like prison. You're like,
Yeah.
Get it.
Just give it a little smack. I don't condone any domestic abuse. This is only a joke, ladies and gentlemen.
Disclosure at the beginning fixes all. Yeah, no, just communicate and put it forward. I think I don't think there's anything else to say about that. I think it's pretty much straightforward to
Yeah, if she takes it negatively, then she's not the right person for you at the end of the day.
But I can't imagine she would though, because you've already said she's obviously not doing it because you said you don't like it. But you said you're not doing it, and now it becomes a joke. And then if you need to say it again, just be like, no, I've got to tell you again now, and that will just close it. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't say it makes you feel like a lady.
Work out at the beginning of a relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about learning each other's like yes and no's and things like that. If she says, "Oh, well, if I can't do that, then you can't have anal, mate. You're just gonna have to suck it up."
Yeah, it's not all that it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, no, I could live without it. It's not. It just adds a bit of variety, doesn't it? to go off the fucking emails for a second. So I watched that thing about the BTK killer.
Oh yeah,
What a
he's
numbnuts.
fucking sick, isn't he?
Yeah, he is there. But then I went down a rabbit hole. Have you ever heard of the toy box killer?
Yeah, he was one of my other episodes that I was going to bring to you because there's actual
There's a
like
tape.
tapes of what he's like played out to someone,
Yeah,
and
so
it's horrific.
because I'm an idiot, my journey home on Monday
You listen to the tapes.
was listening to the 50-minute tape that he introduced women when he
Oh,
kidnapped
bro.
them. I can
Yeah.
still hear his voice in my head.
It's horrific, isn't it?
Yeah, there's
So
this bit,
bad.
the one of the Mulder bits, but it's just a bit I can't get out of my head when he goes to he's like on the many times you be sucking, you might get the urge to use your teeth. I wouldn't advise this, because if you do this, I have no qualms in cutting a nipple, and if you bite deep, I'll just cut off a tit. And he's like, in the time that I've been doing this, which is many years, a couple have tried to bite, and I've had to take a couple nipples, and it doesn't bother me none, but I'd rather not do it. And I'm just like, fucking, what the
It's so
fuck,
calm
man?
and collected about it, isn't it?
Yeah, and he like laughs and it's fucking mental. But I just can't get his voice out of my head.
Yeah, because it almost sounds like it's not real, the way he talks in it, and like he talks about the dogs doing something to him,
Oh,
and there's other bits where he's like, I've been brainwashing people for so many years now that by the end of it you'll be bathed and clothed and left on the side of the road.
yeah, you won't
And
even
you won't
remember.
know what's happened to you. You'll remember what happened to you, but you won't be able to prove it and all this shit. I'm just like, what the fuck?
This one fucking
remember-
sick bastard.
Trying to go through it to do it in our 15-minute JCB episode. I was like, I can't get any of this that isn't going to make me feel sick.
Yeah,
Playing it
yeah.
to
For
you.
anyone that wants to listen to it, I'd probably advise not to, because
Unless you're
Monday
into
I
the
listened
macabre.
to it,
Yeah.
and like all day today, like I was thinking, and then all of a sudden, like a sentence or a line would pop in my head, and I'd be like, "Fuck's sake!"
Yeah, and it was all in like one of them old teardrop fucking camper vans.
Yeah. Fuck it. So bad. So fucking crazy, man. Fucking 40 odd years he was doing that and no one even fucking knew.
Yeah. They did, do you know Criminal Minds?
Mm.
They made a whole 2 seasons out of that geezer.
Did they?
Yeah.
Jesus fuck. Anyway, yeah, sorry, that was what I wanted to bring up at the beginning, but I forgot, and then we were talking about bumholes. That reminded me of it.
Yeah, BTK was sick, and then this guy was like sick as well, man. Like I feel as though the guys that were doing it for years and didn't get caught were worse.
Yeah, because they have like a chip on their shoulder, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, because at the beginning he says to Ruby, he was like, you may think that someone knows you're here, but they don't, and there ain't no knights in shining armor that are going to come help you and get you out, so you might as well accept what's happening to you. And I'm like, fuck
Yeah.
off, you fucking...
And it's happened to so many people before you, and rah 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 rah.
Yeah. Nah. Fucking
Dirty
prick.
bastard.
Anyway, yeah, we hope you get it sorted out. It's not a, end all matter. Just say through again and just, hammer the nail in, and then you'll be okay. Right, let's see.
I didn't mean to connect your question there with the toy box killer.
Oh yeah, no. That's just the way my brain works.
Listener sitting there fucking petrified at home, waiting for the missus to come back.
Yeah, no. So this is a previous listener. She originally messaged about recently breaking up with her ex who was cheating on her, and we told her to find herself again, and then she asked us again about where to go on holiday for a break.
Oh yeah.
She says she's glad to know that you'd be glad to know that I've been working on myself. I took a nice trip to Mexico a few months ago and had a great time. That's awesome. So she went to Mexico. And we were talking about Mexico at the beginning. Hopefully she didn't have an accident or anything. As I start to navigate the dating world again, I've met a really nice guy, and he seems to tick most of my boxes. but I just can't find myself wanting to jump his bones or be affectionate. He is being patient with me, but I don't want to end things with the famous "I just want to be friends" jargon, because I'm not sure what I want as of yet. Because, as mentioned, he's ticked a lot of my boxes. From a guy's point of view, once again, what do you both think? Thanks again for everything.
I would say it is quite tough because, like, as a guy, my like first and foremost thing would be like I'd want to know that I'm not ticking the boxes sexually or whatever. But at the same time, the words "I just want to be friends" while we all figuring it out to me is okay. See you on the next one, because that would be like ending it for me.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be tactful. I think don't say the phrase "I just want to be friends." I think that's the first thing to do. Maybe go down the route of you're still trying to figure things out because obviously you went through such a hard ship in the previous relationship, and that you're still trying to find yourself, and you want to take things slowly, and then just see how he takes that. If he's respectful enough, he should be happy to take things slowly. But then you have to be honest with him if he's still not feeling it.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, I think we said about it before in a previous listen, like being cheated on is like a massive, like, blow. It's like a commitment thing. Like, you can never, even if you feel okay and you're sort of working on yourself, there's still that in the back of your mind, that like mistrust. But like, I used to fucking hate that when I was like dating, and you get the whole I don't feel a spark. I hated that as well. What do you mean a fucking spark? Like, you expect to be like electrocuted when I come and fucking see you. And then she was like, "Oh yeah, we just want to be friends." And I just remember just going like, "Yeah, that's fine." And then I'm talking to you or something, and I'm like, "I don't want any more fucking friends. I've gotten rid of most of them. I only kept you and Jim around. Why the fuck would I want another one?" I was like, "I didn't go on a dating site to date friends, did I?"
No, exactly.
That's just the petty, like,
It's always
childish
like
part of me.
it's like an arrow through my heart, you know, when I'm watching First Dates or something,
Yeah,
and they seem like they're getting on really well, yeah, and the guy's all like like happy and all this stuff, or vice versa, the woman's all happy, and then one of them will go, "I just want to be friends," and the other one said yes, they want to see each other again. I'm just like, oh mate, you just have been fucking rejected hard in front of a cameraman.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The best one for that sort of stuff is it Love Is Blind, where they get married at the end? Is that
Is that
one?
the one where they can't see each other?
Yeah, they pick each other through, like,
Like
they're
a
just
fucking
talking,
glass wall.
and then at the end they decide whether they want to get married.
Yeah.
And I remember there was one, and like they film it so sneakily, or like they're both talking about, and they've got like their family there, and they're like, "Oh, I couldn't imagine my life being different and all this sort of stuff," and like, "Oh, they've changed my life so much," and then they stand up and they're like, "Say I do," and he's like, "I don't," and then you're just like, and then like the whole family, and like, this Mexican guy got up and he was like, "Oh no, oh no," and he's like gonna fucking knock the guy out. It's like, it's fucking amazing. It's so hard to be fucking when you get to a certain point, people almost expect you to go through with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, but it's not their journey, it's your journey, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Especially on shows like that where, like, a lot of it you're getting carried along with the tidal wave.
Yeah.
So by the end of it, you need to make that decision.
And they push you a little bit as well to say what they want to say for the
Oh, of
show.
course. It's very heavily produced, them type of shows.
But that's what we love.
Married at First Sight, they're constantly working on each other. I always think if you've not clicked within the first few weeks, then you're not going to click.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
There was a show, what the fuck was it called, that I watched with Carol. Jim hated it, but me and Carol love like reality stuff. And it was like couples went to this place and then they chose other partners to have like a few weeks with to see what it would be like to be with someone else. Did you see that?
I've heard of the premise, but I haven't seen it.
I can't remember what it's called. But like, this guy and this woman came in. Like, obviously, there's always one partner that's been convinced to go on it because obviously no one wants to see their fucking partner go off and live with someone for 3 weeks.
No.
And this guy's like proper cocky because obviously it was his idea to fucking come on it because he's like, yes, I'm gonna get to go off. And he's going around, and there's like a few hours or an evening where they all meet each other and they get to decide who they want to go off with.
Yeah.
And this guy's going around, and you're watching him in his little personal things, and he's like, "Oh, I think me and her have got a really good connection." And then she's like, "I wouldn't go with him." And then he's like, "Oh," and then you can see he's working his little like, "Oh, I'm definitely gonna pick you," making sure he has like backups of backups. And then there's one girl that he's like, "Oh, she does my fucking nutting. Like, I hate this." So then they get to the table and everyone's standing up and they're doing their little speeches of like, "Oh, I think we got a really good connection." And he's sitting there like rubbing his hands, getting ready to sit up. First woman comes up, picks someone else, and he's like, you can see it in his face. He's like, "Oh, no, it's okay. I've got another one backing up." So then he's like, because I think it was like 4 couples. So he's like, waits for her to get up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, she's gonna pick me," and he's like swaggering, she's gonna pick me, pick someone else. So then he stands up and he's like, "I'm gonna pick someone." So then he's like, "Oh, I pick this woman," and she stands up and she picks someone else again. And then the only one that's left is the woman that he didn't fucking like.
And she picked him.
They had no choice. There were the 2 left. Neither of them got picked, so he ended up with her because she was an annoying cow.
Fuck.
And then right at just before they walk off, the camera goes to him in his little interview thing, and he's like, "This is fucking stupid. Like, I don't even understand why we're doing this show because he's fucking lost out on 3 different women." I'm like, this is fucking beautiful. So good. I'll find out the name of the show. It was on Netflix.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be quite good, man.
Yeah, it was fucking funny. Anyway, we've gone off subject again. Yeah, you never know what it could be. Like, sometimes even though because he's patient, that could be like a turn off because it's almost like a form of neediness, being patient.
Yeah,
I know
I
that
suppose,
sounds like terrible.
if he's too easygoing about things.
Yeah. Like there's not that passion.
Just the lack of the chase, innit?
Yeah. Like he's like, "Oh, that's okay. Like take your time." Even that sort of to some people is like a turn off, because like you might want this sort of like you've just had this like massive long relationship and you've come out of it and you're looking for someone nice, but then subconsciously you want someone to come in and fucking rip you off your feet and then like fucking, you know what I mean, do the dirty stuff. You don't give a fuck what their opinions are. You're just like, yeah, come in and fucking take me. And then you meet this guy and you're like, "Oh, he's really nice and he ticks all my boxes." And then it's like, "Oh, I've just come out of a really long relationship." And then he's like, "Oh, okay." And then it becomes more like he's a mate.
Yeah, because he's been too
Sympathetic
like,
and
stuff like that.
yeah.
Which can obviously bite him in the arse. He's got the right intentions, but it's not panning out.
Yeah, because then when you're like texting and stuff like that, the language change. So he's not like flirting anymore. He's being compassionate and he's being understanding. And he's like, "Oh, how are you doing? Are you okay?" And then it's almost like a sister talking to her. And then you don't have feelings for your sister unless you're.
This is the thing going on unless you're on Family Strokes and Pornhub.
Yeah. You got a pretty nice mouth, boy. Yeah, so I mean that's not a horrible thing to say. That's just the way, just the way it works. So it could be something like that. But I agree with Jamie with you got to be tactful, and if you're not going to be friends with him, just say, "I used to hate that," because obviously everyone knows you're not going to be friends afterwards. Maybe if you see each other in a bar, you'll be polite, but you ain't going to go out for fucking coffee, are you?
No, like there's obviously I've been married for a long time, but before that, there were, if I ever heard that line, I'd be like, "Okay,
yeah, that's it. Thanks for that. See you later."
Yeah, move on to the next one. Block and delete. Sort it out. I just think, to reiterate, just be tactful about what you're saying. Don't use the words, "I just want to be friends," and maybe just say you want to take it slow. But if you're still not feeling it, like give yourself a time frame, and if you're still not feeling it after that certain amount of time, be honest with him and let him know, so then he can move on, and
Yeah.
then you can move on as well.
Yeah, like if you just say to him, be like, thank you for being understanding and about what's going on, but I think I just still need to take time myself, and I don't want to string you along, and I'm not going to give you the same old tired lines, but I just think it's probably best if I carry on my own. But then, like, it's hard to let people go like that because he is a nice person, but there's more of them out there. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
because you found one, you don't have to like, oh, I'm never going to find one again. They are there.
exactly. And if he is a nice person, it would be good to him as well, and let him off.
Yeah, and if anything as well, like you've met someone that hasn't taken advantage of you, they haven't lied to you or anything like that, so that restores a little bit more faith,
Yeah.
and it's just another version of like working on yourself. Obviously, if you tell him that you're not interested and he throws a drink in your face, then you're going to be a step back. But I don't think I don't think it'll go that far.
Yeah, if he's been this nice so far, I don't think he's going to all of a sudden change.
No.
Although people are psychos, so it
Well,
can happen.
I just ate an entire Arctic roll for my dinner, so
Yeah,
all right.
and he was wearing nothing while he was doing it.
I was wearing clothes. I was sitting in front of my window. Thank you very much. Well, actually, I was sitting on a bench in the kitchen at the counter. So yeah, it's a little bit psychotic. So this listener is the one that gave us the amazing story about them having a wild night and a family member turns up.
Okay, yeah.
So he says, glad you enjoyed the story. The Argus debate has got people talking, but I agree with Jamie. Sorry to tell you, fellow Dan. I love you, really. You're going to fucking respond to that.
I think you just need to admit defeat at this
I
point.
know. I'm not admitting defeat because my way's better. As long as there's one person, I know there's one person out there that says it my way, and that's all I need. I've got another scenarios for you guys. As always, a good segment for the show. Don't worry if you will not take it to heart if you don't pick this email. No, all right, we'll go through them. Yeah, we always like a good scenario. One of them, though, I don't really understand, but we'll get to that. So, Jamie, if you could earn £1 million a month, but you would have to have you would have to be a sexual slave to someone that looks like a creature from the hills have eyes, would you do it? That's by the end of that, you would have 12 million.
So they only have to do it for a year.
For a year, yeah, but at the end you'll have 12 million.
That's tough, man.
I don't think it is. I would do it for a lot cheaper.
Really? Have
Yeah.
you seen Hills of Eyes?
And?
Well, I suppose you'd be all up in that.
That was a question for someone that isn't Dan.
There'll definitely be butt stuff going on there. I tell you that. Fuck me. Nah. 12 million's a lot of money. Can I agree to it and then give up halfway through and get 6 mil?
No, you would lose all of it, wouldn't you?
I'd lose all of it, so I'd just be
yeah,
raped
because
for 6 months.
the Hills Have Eyes man ain't made of money, is he? He's going to be like, oh yeah, you put up a good game.
What if I would be like, can I do like if I got like a gang of like 6 of us and we did like 2 mil each, 2 months each?
I feel like you think it's like a game of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Like you've got stages that have like, right, Jamie, now we're going to get onto the 1 million a day. What would you do? Will you take up the arse or will you walk away and just take that 1 million and leave it?
I'll take the million, see you later, mate. I just remember them being so disgusting, man. They were so disgusting. They were like dribbling.
Yeah, but he doesn't say you have to give him a fucking kiss.
Yeah, but he's going to be all over you.
Who gives their sexual slave a kiss is all about being dominated, isn't it?
Yeah, that's even
Maybe
worse.
all you've got to do is do a bit of like bending over, maybe your legs behind your head, a bit of tongue stuff.
I can't do it.
If it makes you feel better, a sex slave probably means it's against your will. So it doesn't say you're enjoying it. It's just he's just going to do whatever he wants when he feels like it.
Yeah, but what if you get 12 mil, but you're absolutely ruined, like you can't walk?
You buy a new arsehole. You get a
No,
gold-plated wheelchair, Jamie.
no, I don't think I could do it.
Oh well.
I could nominate someone to do it and then take their money. I would like sell people to them.
As
I
long
would
as
quite happily do that.
they don't take a nipple.
I'd be like a people trafficker for the Hills Have Eyes people.
I feel like we've just found a more appropriate time for me to talk about that toy box murderer, and I wasted it by talking about that person's poor dilemma.
Yes, you did, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's why you don't read ahead. Scenario 2. Have a body of a young Arnold Schwarzenegger, but live a life of celibacy and not have sex the rest of your life. I just feel like he's written there, either be yourself or be Arnie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I've had a lot, and I'd much rather have just looked like I am now.
If I had to live a life of celibacy, there'd be, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, I'll just be eating
What is
fucking
the point?
cheeseburgers and bloody wasting
I
the
am
body.
not a priest, yeah, and even the priests aren't celibate nowadays. So,
No.
well, I think, fuck that. That's an easy one for me. I would love Arnie's body, but
Stage you are.
if I have to wrap my willy up, then it ain't gonna happen.
Wake up tomorrow and you're a woman of your choice. What's the first thing you would do, and what would you do with your first day?
Oh.
Well, okay, who would you, if you woke up, any woman, who would you be?
Like Nicki Minaj or J Lo or
You're just gonna shake your ass all day, innit?
pretty much. Ice Spice.
Who?
She's like another booty.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the same minute Beyonce, but I would do it and then go full lesbian for a day, and just enjoy my body, enjoy their body. If I had a full day of it, I'd be 24 hours orgasms.
I think myself, like, why would I want to? Like, why would I not want to be in the position of, like, you wake up next to the woman? I don't think
Well, that would be better.
Yeah.
But if I
'Cause
had to be the woman, then but I ain't gonna be fucking Jay-Z. I tell you that.
I just feel like, what, Beyonce, and you have to bang him.
Yeah, I'm banging Jay-Z. He'd be like coming up to me. I'd be like, nah, see you later, honey, and I'll be going out the door, going down the local fucking lesbian club.
I
trying to
feel
get myself
like
the females.
I would just wake up as a woman that's really wealthy, and then I would transfer all of her money into my account, and then I would just go and get a coffee for the day and wear it out. Maybe look at my boobs a bit.
That would be if coming to monetary value, I would definitely do that as well. I would wire myself like.
You can't steal my idea just because you want to be a filthy lesbian.
I can do both, Dan.
You're
While
like,
I'm in the
Dan's
taxi,
idea is better than
while
mine.
I'm in the taxi taking back my party of women back to the room, I'm going to be transferring myself some money.
It's like everyone expected Dan to be the filth, and it's like Jamie's gone full whack, and then he's like, oh, but Dan's got a better idea. I'll do that one.
I didn't even think about money. But all the women I've named are rich, so I
They
could
are
just
rich, yeah.
steal their money.
But then you're not exactly going to be like, oh, I'm just going to be like Brenda down the road, and then Charlotte hears and be like, no, you ain't going down that road anymore. You're banned for walking down that road. Oh, I'd just like to be my wife's best mate, Claire.
I have seen a TikTok where who's like, do you know what is it called when you can say to your partner that you sleep with any celebrity?
Oh, you get like a 1-day pass or whatever they call it.
Yeah, you get like a day pass for someone.
Like if you met the celebrity that you love, like your partner would be okay with you sleeping with them.
Sleeping with them, yeah. So Charlotte always said that Holly Willoughby would turn her into a lesbian, and I remember we were watching a TikTok of this husband saying, "So I could sleep with anyone I wanted," and the wife's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Anyone I wanted," and she was like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, I'll sleep with your sister."
I've seen that one.
She's like, "What?" There is blokes that stupid that say shit like that.
Well, that's smart. That's working the system. That's what that is.
That's the worst. Well, you can sleep with her, and then the next day you got to deal with that. Fuck
yeah,
that.
That's true. Yeah. Right, last one. If you could go back in time, where would you go and what would you do? But the catch is that you would have to stay in that time.
Ooh. Ooh. See, I would love to go back because obviously, you know, I've got the obsession with the Younger Dryas and all this 12,000 years ago shit with the pyramids and stuff. I would love to go back to that, but I do not think I could go pre iPhone. I don't think I'd be happy pre iPhone. I think I
You
would
don't even
need.
have an iPhone.
I
Yeah.
don't even have an iPhone, but I need technology. I would love to see what's happened with the pyramids, but if I have to live there forever, I don't want to be living in a fucking tent in the desert. Do you know what I mean? I want to be. Well, I suppose I could take over one of these countries if I go back because I have more knowledge than them.
That's the catch, though, right? It's like if you've got to stay there, like you want to pick somewhere that you know better than anywhere else, so you could
Yeah.
like take advantage. And I don't really
Mm.
know anything about history.
I think I'd be better off in like the likes of Egypt than I would be in like medieval Britain because I'd be fucked then.
Can I just go back to about 10 minutes ago when I didn't eat that Arctic roll?
And you'd still get out the fucking freezer and eat it
I would still
anyway.
eat it again. Yeah, I'll just eat it on the podcast. Creature of habit. Creature of habit.
I would like to go to the future more than anything.
Yeah, I think the past is a bit dumb, but then we're already paying pretty much heavily for all the shit that we've done, like our people. I don't think the future's gonna be better.
True.
Could I just go back to when there was nothing?
Oh, and it's just you floating in space
Yeah, I think that'd
like a
be
Rick
pretty
and
good.
Morty head.
Could I and could I just take like a pool mag with me? Just float through space.
There's always some kind of weird catch for you. Isn't there? There's always some kind of
You
weird.
got something to
catch for you.
do, innit? I told Ben I've got no imagination anymore. I need something to get the old gears going.
Get the gears going. I
I think prehistoric time would be pretty good. And then when you're sick of it, you just walk in front of a T-Rex, when you
Yeah, but you'll be the only human back then as well.
butterfly effect, banging all the dinosaurs.
Oh, what, there'll be like fucking bird dans going around. Dans.
You never know. I could have evolved the apes with my seed.
You could have been the initial one. That'd explain a lot, Dan.
It would explain it, not yeah. Yeah, I have no answer for that. I don't know. I'd probably go to when it was a lot quieter. I don't think there's any time in the past where it wasn't like dirty or like there was war or, you know what I mean? There's no time to go back where it was peaceful.
No, I think if you were to do that, you'd have to go back to a country that was peaceful at that time.
Yeah, because I mean, if you were like, oh, I want to go see Da Vinci, well, he was living in his own shit, wasn't he? Oh, I want to go back to when they did this, and it's like, well, oh, I want to go back to medieval times because people did this. Yeah, well, they were, you know, in their
There's a
own
reason
shit
they
as
call
well.
it the Dark Ages.
Yeah. Oh, I want to
Yeah.
go back to the Western times because I like to watch the films. Well, you know, you could get shot for looking at someone funny, and we already know there's 1,000 ways to die in the West.
Mm.
There is no time frame that was like. There's a reason why we evolve, right?
Yeah, we come back from savages, and then that's why I think the only interesting time to me is the bit that's always in question, that 12,000 year mark.
The bit you don't know.
Yeah, but I could go back and I'll turn up and there's nothing there. I'm stuck there.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
It's always something really like disheartening as well.
And I end up just like building one of the blocks on the fucking pyramid. Just become one of the millions of slaves.
You
they
find
used.
out the really shitty way they did it, and you're like, this
Yeah.
isn't as half as impressive as the future. And then you
Oh,
lean to the
it's
guy
so
next to you and be like, you know, they thought aliens built this, right? And he's like, wankers.
Yeah, he's like, what's an alien? I'll be like, well, let me tell you this.
And then you
Then
become
I'll
a
become
fucking...
like some weird preacher on the streets that like, wears nothing but a robe.
Fucking hell, this is going to be one fucking long episode, I'll tell you that much. Oh, it was he messaged because he was talking to a girl and he went to meet her at a bowling alley and she never turned up, and then it turns out she had a rep. So You guys have been making me laugh for a while now, and I'm enjoying the guests. I have something coming up in the not so distant future, and will be a large amount of cash coming my way, and I'm trying to decide what to do with it. This is the part of the email where I thought he was going to give it to us, but he didn't. I have a house bought and paid for, and not sure if I want to get into a second property. I would like a new car, but I'm not a fan of spending a lot of cash. Do you guys have any suggestions to what I could do with it? What would be the first you do if you was to come into a large sum of money yourselves? Didn't we just cover that?
Pretty much.
I would pay off my house, and then I would fucking quit my job. And then I would just do nothing. See Jamie a lot.
I'd go on holiday first thing, and then decide what I'm doing with the money.
It depends on. It always depends on the amount,
loads
right?
Of cars, probably.
Yeah, I think I'd buy it. Oh no, I'm not that fussed about cars, to be honest. I'd buy loads of records. It depends on how much and why you're getting it, right? Like if you're getting it because someone's passed away, then you should use it responsibly. You should get a second property. You should invest it. You should keep it. Blah blah blah. If you've like won the lottery, or you've got a tax refund, or you've injured yourself, you know, fucking spend it.
It's a bit different, yeah.
Yeah. There's always a situation surrounding the money. Like, if I had injured myself, I'd be like, woo, party, I've got another leg. That's another one later on. You know what I mean? Does it matter? Second properties are a good thing. I think, I don't really know anything about investing or anything like that, but in my head, having a second property, you can Airbnb it, you can rent it out, and that's like income coming in, especially if you can pay off like a massive chunk of it.
Oh, yeah, I think it's definitely worth doing.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea.
Me and Charlotte always said to each other, if we could have kept the flat and moved into the house, that would have been brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's just unaffordable at the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I understand the thing about a car, because they always say once you bought a car, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's lost like $5,000 or something. And then they don't hold their value. So you just basically throwing your money out the window.
No, it's only certain brands hold value, like Audis and stuff like that, and it's only recently that Golf will hold its value, but it's only recently that the second-hand car market is like really gone up since COVID.
Yeah.
So that's eventually going to pop. That's what you got to think. It's like the housing market at the minute is so high, but that's eventually going to pop. So you could buy a car now at its highest point, and then in 5 years' time, it'd be worth fuck all.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it.
Right.
A lot of rich people actually rent their cars.
They do rent everything. They're normally their houses on. That's why when like sports people, mostly like boxers and that, when their time's over, they sell their houses and stuff because they can't afford it.
Yeah, because
which always made me laugh, because I thought myself, if I say I went and did a Hollywood movie, which apparently you don't get much money for, and I'm like, sweet, I can afford a house, I'm just going to fucking buy it, because if anything happens, that house is mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, the bank's going to take it because it's not mine. I'm like, why are you fucking living in it then?
Yeah, it's insane. And I think what a lot of it happens is when you're in your heyday, a lot of these celebrities buy houses way out of their actual, what their longevity is going to be.
Yeah.
And then they end up in panic mode. Do you know what I mean?
It's fucking mental. But yeah, man, hopefully you make a wise decision. I think the house is not a bad idea. Or just keep it, man. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to spend it just because you've got an amount of money. Hold on to it.
Yeah, have fun with it.
Look at it every now and again.
Pay off any debts you got. Save yourself some worries. And if it's a student loan, totally ignore it.
Yeah, fuck that. Never pay that shit back.
No cunt pays the student loan off. No. So, yeah, just enjoy the money, but don't go mad. Don't do what... I always refer to that lottery winner that built a fucking scrapyard in his back garden. Do you remember who I'm talking about? He was like the proper chavvy guy.
No, I don't know.
He like started a banger racing track in his back garden. He bought like this huge mansion, won like 12 million or something. Well, built this huge mansion which was worth like half of his money, and then he put a fucking banger racing thing in the back field, and just like bought loads of cars and just smashed them up constantly, and then wasted all of his money away on that and partying.
Fucking hell. Each to their own, man. Each to their own.
Mm.
Yeah, let us know how you get on. It's always good to hear from you, so keep them coming. And yeah, we always need a financial backer, so think about us.
Yeah, think about us. You could be helping out with the show.
Get the
any way
merch going.
possible.
Yeah. Jamie's mic's out of the window.
Mate, this mic I'm at my wit's end with this mic.
It's alright, your brothers have got spare ones, haven't they?
Yeah, I've got a spare one under the thing. I'm going to have to change it, I think.
I'm glad I have you guys on a Monday. Trust me, I would have quit my job by now. I'm glad my original story is still getting mentioned on the show to this day. It makes me feel like part of the crew. The guy whose missus wore his mum's underwear.
Right.
I have another slightly less embarrassing story. I was going out with a girl called, and she was a firecracker. She was a little crazy, but she made up for it in other ways. We used to do a lot of viral things of sending each other dirty pics while we were at business meetings or family dinners to see each other's reactions. One day we were sitting at a family barbecue and she kept looking at me with a funny look. But I was like, what's going on? Not putting two and two together, she kept grinning curiously at me. I was bewildered. Later that day, she asked me why I didn't react, and I said, about what? She said the tit pics. So I'm trying to read it as if I'm reading
I've never heard that term before.
What, tit pics?
Tit pics.
Turns out, after noticing I had no idea what on earth she was talking about, she checked her phone again, and she had been sending them to a fantasy football group chat the whole time.
Oh, God.
The cracker is all the blokes of the group never spoke a word about it until she deleted them, thirsty bastards. Still makes me laugh to this day. Is there any pics or messages you sent by mistake and realised after the fact? Oh, man, I remember talking to two girls at the same time, and one was like 90% sure, and the other one was like 50. And I was like fucking rapid fire in these fucking messages. And then I sent one to the other woman and she was like, what? And I'm like, oh, and I was trying to fucking damage control and end up losing both of them. That was rough. That's karma right there. That's how it works. I laugh about the fantasy football team because like, I'd be like, no one say nothing. If she's sending him tit pics, just fucking pretend we haven't seen him.
Every man in that group was like in a complete and utter like joint effort to not communicate while she was doing that.
Yeah. Radio silence. Have you ever sent anything you shouldn't have sent to someone?
I've done a lot of drunken messages where I've sent stuff knowingly at the time and woke up next day. I'm like, why the fuck have I said that?
Yeah, I've said about you having your like Instagram messages to people when you're pissed.
Yeah, exactly. Promoting the podcast. At least I'm doing it with the right intentions. I've done a lot of things like where I'll be in multiple different group chats, and there was one time where I sent like a really dirty video, and it was like to like a group chat with lads that are quite like posh, and they didn't know how to handle it, and you just see that no one reacted. They just put a laugh face, and I was like, oh. The worst thing I've ever seen done is one of my cousins, which I'm hoping you don't kill me for saying this, but we had a family group chat during COVID of like all the older people in the family, or everyone in the family was in it, like my great aunties and everyone. And we also have a men time away group chat where we constantly send each other dirty videos and all this stuff, and like talk absolute shite to each other. And he sent like this filthy like porn video of this woman like going absolutely to town on this bloke, and he sent it to the fucking family group chat with his mum in it. He's like the 75-year-old mum, his fucking 80-year-old auntie, and all this stuff. I was like, oh my god. And I was like, I sent a message to him quick, and I was like, you do realise what group chat that's in, don't you? He was like, oh fuck. And he's like trying to delete it, then he couldn't figure out how to delete it.
Brilliant.
Oh man.
Oh, that's fucking...
But I've never done it myself, other than the drunken messages.
Yeah. I've messed up some fucking nothing like that. Normally, if I'm doing that, I'm a bit more careful.
I hope so, Dan. I don't want to be getting a dick pic in the middle of the night.
You're like thirsty for one, mate. Don't even fucking joke about it. Right. So this listener says, I've recently been welcomed into the No Hopers from a good friend of mine. I want to ask you gentlemen a question. I've been out of touch with my mum for many years now, and she recently has sent me a Facebook message out of the blue. I have done the dance many times with her since I was 16. She's an addict, and when she gets clean, she wants to know me, then she falls off the wagon again. I don't know whether the 100th time I've gone through this is the last time for my own mental health. Can you suggest anything to me? I know from your waiver it's an opinion and not gospel, but I would like some advice as I know you have done well by your listeners in the past. This is a lady. I didn't know if I said that. It's difficult, right? Because the thing you got to remember with addicts is that they've already given up on themselves most of the time. So that's like, it's like a lot of shame. So the fact that when she comes sober or whatever she's doing, she comes clean, she goes to you, is because obviously she wants you in her life. And I think if you gave up on her and she's already given up on herself, then it's just going to end up doing things worse.
Yeah, it's difficult because, like, firstly, well done to the listener who got another listener for us.
Yeah, I already replied that in the email.
But secondly, to this listener, it is a difficult one because, I've not known many addicts in my life, but the addicts that I did know, they're not bad people. It's like whatever they're addicted to is taken over, has become the dominant force in their life.
Yeah.
So for her to be your mother means that addiction is taking your mother away, rather than your mother choosing the addiction over you. Is the way you kind of need to see it.
Yeah.
And when she's sober, she obviously wants to go in with the right intentions, but she's still struggling to keep the addiction at bay. So just give her the benefit of the doubt when she's sober. Just be supportive of her. But just, the pattern now. And there's only so many times you can go through it before distancing yourself for your own mental health.
Mm.
And the only way you can make a judgment of that is yourself. Like, no one can tell you, no matter what they say, is going to be the way that you need it to be. It's going to have to be a decision you make, when you distance and when you don't, because as Dan said, she could be doting on the fact that what's making her want to be clean is that you're going to be there at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, she can't keep messing up and ending up in a situation where it could be detriment to your life.
But I bet that message that she sends you probably gets harder and harder every time she sends it, because she already knows that how many times, you know what I mean? But I think as well, when I read the email and I've seen I'm the same. I don't really know many addicts. I mean, my ex was, okay, you can't get addicted to weed, but she was fucking addicted.
I was classed her as an addict, maybe.
And I think to myself, because obviously I was what if my mum was doing things like that? And it's you could say that you've given your chances to her and she's run out of it, and then everyone ultimately knows what happens to addicts, that end up taking their life
in one way or the other.
Yeah. And then do you want to be at a funeral thinking to yourself I could have had, when she was sober, I could have had a bit more time with her. I say sober, but obviously I don't know. So I like you say about your mental health. You don't have to. When she's gone off the wagon, she's obviously gone off, but when she's sober and she wants to be with you, I would take that time to have
Yeah.
the like good memories and like not sort of dwell on it. And then when if it, unfortunately, if she, it continues to happen and it does take her, then at least you've like the time I got with her, I used,
Yeah, then at least you're. If you know you've done everything you can
right to the end.
right to the end, then your conscience is clear. But sometimes people can get so bad where they need to hit that rock bottom, and if that rock bottom is you not being around, then let that be the rock bottom. And then once they've been out of it long enough, like you see it on TV shows all the time, where they're like 6 months in, 12 months into being clean. That's the level you need to see her at. You don't need to see her at when she's at a month, 2 months, when she's still trying to build herself up to be in back in society.
Yeah, you could say to her like, "Oh, I'm really glad that you're getting better, but yeah, you know, you don't make it very long until you're off the wagon again, and I need to see some commitment. So come back to me when you're
Mm.
a month or 2 months or."
Yeah,
And then
not
as
when
well,
you're 2 days.
it's like environment, right? As well, and it's different cases. Like if she's addicted to like coke and stuff like that, they end up like stealing. Like so, if you've let her into your house and she's stealing your stuff to sell, and then she disappears, that's different than that's like an alcoholic, and they
Yeah,
spend all their time getting hammered, and you never get to see them, but they've got their own place that they stay.
mm.
There's so many like there's no addiction is exactly the same. That's the problem. There's no sure way to deal with any of it.
No, and it's super hard to get over. Like the only addiction I've ever come across personally, obviously, is smoking. And although I can't compare that to a lot of drugs, it is like super, super, super difficult to come off of. And I would be in the complete brilliant mindset for like 2, 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden click, and I'll be back smoking, and I would probably be worse than I was before.
Yeah.
And I'd go through like volatile circles like that, and it's just like if you have
Yes.
got that in you, then it's hard to pull out.
It's easier
And
to give up, isn't it, than it is to power through.
exactly, and it's all about willpower at the end of the day, and how much this drug or alcohol is taking its toll on the person as well is going to be dependent on how long it will take for them to come out of it. Because
Yeah.
you've seen a lot of turnaround stories, like that fella that used to be in Mighty Ducks. Do you know the goalie from Mighty Ducks?
Vaguely, yeah.
So he went like super bad, like addict, like was ended up on the streets, like completely ravaged on meth and fucking crack and all that stuff. Um, Recently I've seen a video of him. Like he spent years and years and years getting like videos done of him where he was like a complete mess for like probably about 15, 20 years. And I've seen a video of him recently. He's clean. He's brought his life back together. He's like looking like a bit more human, where at the time he was looking like really skinny and like frail and stuff like that. And like you can see he's really turning it around. And there's like loads of stories like that around that you could hope that would be where your mum would end up in some time.
Yeah.
But she's
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
beginning of it at this point.
Mm.
Bobby Lee's a prime example. He's done years and years of sober. The comedian.
Yeah, Dak Shepard. I was listening to. I mentioned him before. He was a massive addict. It's
Yeah.
I think it's your mum, and I wouldn't give up on her. I think you regret it if you gave up on it. And maybe try and get, like I said, try and get it so like if she goes off the wagon again, you just say to yourself, well, I was there for her when she was okay, and it's not your responsibility now. If it's her life to lead, if she wants to go
Yeah.
down that way. But when she's, she wants to see you and stuff like that, I would um, never. I can't think of the word. Never.
Never take that away from her.
Or you. I can't think of the word I was thinking of. It's but yeah, just use the time. And like I said, she messaged you because obviously she wants to see you, and you're a driving force of her getting sober. So I wouldn't give up on her. You just need to make those clear rules and like those guidelines
Mm.
that you're comfortable with and that she understands for your own mental health. Um, if she's abusive or anything like that, then yeah, I would say not to bother. But you don't want to regret it down the line. That's my main thing. Because
Yeah.
when she's gone, how are you going to then resolve it? That's the problem.
Exactly, and then really the addiction's moved on to you then as well. Not like physically, but has still affected you
Yeah,
after your mum's passed away.
yeah. So hopefully we said some things that like resonate and they help you a little bit. You are right about the disclaimer at the beginning. We try not to give people too much, we've got the answers and things like that. We're really just here to listen and give you some advice, and really hope your mum stays and gets through it this time. And if not, we're still here. But we hope you enjoy the show, and we hope you stick around.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I'll be honest with you, gents. Brilliant pod. I rarely and possibly would never write into a show, but somehow I'm writing this email. I have been a leader in my role at work for a long time now, 13 years. I completely resonate with your experience as management. But this is a more personal matter. I have a I am a relatively thinner guy and have been gymming it for years, but I just can't shift the man boobs. I'm debating getting a breast reduction, but as a man, it seems so embarrassing. What would you guys advise on something like this cosmetic fix? No matter what the fix is, would you do it?
Yeah, go for it. There's loads of people that have done it. The Rock's done it. There's quite a few bodybuilders that do it because obviously they can't shift that last bit of pectoral like fat.
The problem, I watched that £1,000 Sisters with Sabina,
Mm.
and their brother Chris, fucking brilliant guy, working his bollocks off. He's got the gastric band, and in the new season, he's just got all this excess skin,
Mm.
and he's talking about the same, like he wants to get it off, and like he's like, and they're like, oh, really, you need to get off another £50 before they think about it, and I'm
Mm.
like, that's not fair, because he's saying like, when he sleeps, he's got to move like the fat, the excess skin to get comfortable. And when he walks and things like that, like it rubs against the rest of his skin. And he's worked so hard, and he's like, he's got so much achievement to this point. But every time he looks at himself now, it doesn't matter because he doesn't feel comfortable now. He's gone from such a high, and
Yeah.
that feels like you've gotten nowhere. So no, I would agree. Like, if you're working hard, there's no problem with getting it because you can't do nothing about skin. You don't know how big we don't know how big you've been or anything like that. There's nothing you could probably do about it.
No, you could like I've seen guys work their absolute asses off to like achieve certain things in the gym, and like they just can't achieve it. Like there was a whole going back to The Rock. It reminds me of a whole part of when he was in wrestling, where he wore a t-shirt in the wrestling ring, and that was because he just had his operation done,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't want to show the scars. And like he's someone that you would look at and think, oh, he's jacked. Like he's like what you'd want your body to be, like the ideal physique, like someone like him or Arnie or something like that.
Yeah.
And if he's had to go and get that done, so he had that body issue, then it's relatively common. And I remember when I was a lot smaller than I am, a lot skinnier than I am, I still had a lot of tissue around there. And if it did come to it, and I was working out at that time and actually fucking sorted my life out, I might have ended up having to go down that road myself. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's anything that makes you less of a man at
No.
all. It's 2023. I'm sure there's 100 fucking clinics in Turkey doing it.
It's not like if you come on and you emailed and said, my legs aren't big enough, I'm going to get calf placements.
Extensions, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
I'll be like, why are you doing that? What the fuck is that? But this is like, if you're going to the gym and you want to feel good about yourself, and that's something that it's just not shifting.
Yeah.
And like the doctor obviously advised you, he'll go to you, no, you can get rid of that, normally, blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
without having to do it.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's something that makes you feel uncomfortable and stuff like that, then yeah, absolutely go for it. I find that my moves are controlled by fizzy juice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like if I've had like a bad weekend and I've been drinking fucking Coke and shit like that, like I'll have massive moves on a Monday.
That's
Like
interesting. Yeah, I suppose from the bloatedness.
I'll get into bed and like lay on my side and I've got like double B's. I could give like a tit job. And then like by like the Thursday when I have just been drinking water, I'll be like, I feel better now. I'm not as jiggly. And then fucking Friday comes around and I'm like, whoop, iron brew.
Sabina's like putting a finger up your bum while putting the other finger between your tits.
Fucking carpet burn with the friction. But no, 100% go for it, man. Like, it sounds when you say like breast reduction, that's what makes it sound like embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all about you and how you feel comfortable about yourself.
Mm.
You don't have to tell anyone that you had breast reduction or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's not
No.
It's
A
not
lot of
massive
people
thing.
wouldn't know. It's probably something you're probably noticing more on yourself than other people would at first. Like they would just think you've been, because you work out, that you've like have managed to shift it.
Yeah. No, it's all about you got to feel comfortable in your own body, and if you're working out and it's not working, there's always that option. People do it every day. You know what I mean? For less reasonable reasons than that.
Oh yeah.
And I would absolutely do it if I was working out and whatnot and could get off the cokes and the iron brews. I'd be alright.
Mate, if I had the money, I'd be walking around with fucking full blown six pack, man.
Fuck
Full
it. It's
blown.
like Peter Griffin in Family Guy when he gets like all the liposuction and that.
Yeah.
Right. Let us know how it goes. Hopefully, like I said, listen to the doctor. At the end of the day, he's the
expert.
Yeah. If he says that, if he can give you a routine to get rid of it without using surgery, then do that. But if he thinks that it's a good idea, then trust him. Right, last email. Hi, I hope you do not mind, but I've created a proxy email as I'm trying to maintain a certain level of privacy.
Oh, this is the one that I thought was, yeah, because it said Jamie Dan, didn't it, in the name or something?
Yeah, it did, yeah. Which is funny because I replied back the same as that was his name, yeah. I didn't even click until I sent it. I'm currently enjoying a sexual relation with a colleague, but he's very closed off emotionally and in front of the other colleagues. It's known and common knowledge, but he really doesn't show me any kind of affection in front of the people. I'm starting to believe I'm a booty call. He kisses me and is so kind one-on-one, but he doesn't show anything outside of encounters. On a lighter note, it's Argus, and Dan, you can defend it as much as you want, but it's still Argus. Shut up. Shut up. I'm really enjoying the podcast. One day I may feel comfortable enough to let you know my real name and email, but until then, many thanks. So I don't know, like, is this a man or a woman?
Yes, that's what I was confused about.
Yeah.
Not that it probably makes any difference, to be honest.
A little bit.
It could do in a way that he's not necessarily out of the closet.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. Because my initial, when I first read it, because obviously I didn't click the name, Jaydan, is me and you. So I automatically assuming it was a bloke because, my ability in reading. So I was like, well, maybe he's not comfortable showing that sort of affection in front of other people because he's
not quite there sexually.
Yeah, maybe he's not out yet, or maybe he's just come out and it's not something. But if it's a woman, it's a completely different answer.
I suppose we have to give both, wouldn't we?
Well, I've just given the guys one.
Yeah, the guys ones are almost the same with me, but I would say probably it would kind of link in with the PDA thing for both man and woman. Like I would say, like as I said about PDA in the past, I'm not big on like kissing in front of people.
Yeah.
Like holding hands and stuff is a bit different, or like hugging and stuff is a bit different. But kissing in front of people, especially colleagues, I remember me and Charlotte very early in our relationship got pulled up by a colleague of ours. We used to work Tuesdays, do like the changeovers together. And me and Charlotte would be on that Tuesday evening together with this other colleague and some other people, but the other colleague was still part of the management team.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very upset about how affectionate me and Charlotte were in front of her, and that was without the kissing or anything like that.
Oh, like all the flirting and stuff like
The
that.
flirting and stuff like that was making them feel uncomfortable. So I was like, they could possibly be thinking about that,
Yeah.
about other people's feelings and being feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I would go along those lines of the affection in front of it because it said it's known and common knowledge. I think if you're working together and people know that you're sleeping together, it's a very different thing for like a booty call because it makes it really messy if you stop being together. So I couldn't
Yeah, it's
imagine that's
almost like a
the
bit of a commitment before you've even started, isn't it?
yeah, exactly, yeah. So like if it's like happening regularly, I would put it down to him being uncomfortable in doing it in front of people, and then it's like, you shouldn't be doing that at work anyway. That's my management voice coming out. You shouldn't be doing it in front of your colleagues anyway. You know what I mean? Because it's not appropriate to be doing stuff like that.
In front, yeah.
And like people are like doing like people are uncomfortable anyway. Like if he's showing you something when it's just you two, then that's probably the way he actually is. But then he's different when it like I'm like that because obviously you're comfortable when you're just you two or when you're in your house and stuff like that. You're more yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you're out, you put on like a little persona or you try and act differently to show people the way you are.
Yeah, definitely. I show Charlotte the weird version of me, which no one else really sees.
Yeah.
Where I make like do a weird voice and shit like that.
And she's dipping stuff into things that aren't open. We always say communication is the key. If you're feeling this way, then the best thing you can do is just ask him. You know what I mean? And you'll get, like, if he just says, sorry, I had a bet. Oh, there's something to worry about, blah, blah, blah. Then there's nothing to worry about. But if he sort of hesitates and you can tell he's trying to sort of fucking, then you know what I mean?
Yeah, you should be able to read them by this point, I would say.
Yeah,
if you
if
ask
you've
them
been doing
directly.
it for a while. From your email, I don't think it's anything to fucking worry about, to be honest.
No.
If he's gone down the route of sleeping with you while working together and you're continuously doing it and it's not weird or anything like that and all the colleagues know, then you're basically going out already.
Yeah, pretty much. And like he just might not be into PDA, or he might be trying to remain professional.
Yeah.
There's a few reasons. Probably a mix of it all, really.
If you're, I'm assuming that you're going out like drinking and having meals and things like that. I can't imagine that he's just coming round and sleeping and then leaving, because that's definitely a booty call.
Yeah, if he's just coming around in the middle of the night and like fucking then disappearing in the morning,
Yeah.
every now and then that's booty call. But if you're having more of an active relationship than that, then if you're eating dinner together and stuff, you're basically dating.
Yeah. Affection's a difficult thing because, like, everyone's got different levels of it, obviously, as we heard in the other email as well.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy to go along with it, and Jamie obviously hates it. So, but I would ask him, every conversation that you have with someone that you like or someone that you doesn't, I mean, it's going to be awkward. But at the end of the day, if you ask them and you get the answer, then ultimately you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
for like the greater good in it at the end of the day.
Yeah. People are worried about talking to each other because of people's reactions and stuff like that. And I think we need to get away from that constant worry.
Yeah. I do think it puts barriers up between people that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah. Worrying about upsetting each other, worrying about doing this, worrying about doing that. When
Yeah.
most of the time it's a 5-minute conversation that's then solved and you're not worrying about it anymore.
Exactly.
Obviously, still emailing to us.
Doesn't always have to be about these issues, though.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to take them, but yeah, I've just felt like that what I just said then is like deleted something like 60% of our emails that we get. But whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. Hopefully you get it sorted. Hopefully it works out for the better, because we always like to see people together and not breaking up. But let us know how it goes. Obviously, you don't have to give us a real name. You don't, like we said, we keep everything anonymous. If you felt safer and happier giving us a proxy email, you're more than welcome to. It doesn't bother us. I don't even look at the emails. Like I said, it comes to me or Jamie. I reply to you. It gets read out, and then that's as far as it goes. We don't give it to anyone else. Yeah, I mean, it's
Exactly.
it's purely just for the show, and that's as far as it goes, and that's the way we like to keep it.
But kudos to you for actually going through the time and effort of making an extra email account just to email us in. That made me feel a little bit special, I think.
Yeah, and sorry for my stupidity of not realising that the name was me and Jamie. Because it looks like a fucking... It's like, I always complain when we get messages on Instagram where it's like, hi, two men, and I'm like, they don't even know my name. And I've just done
they've
it
not
to
paid
you.
attention, yeah.
It's going to look like a fucking robot's reply back to him, even though the grammar and the fucking... So I apologise, that is my mistake. I make things like that. But that's it, Jamie. It's another long episode, but a lot of laughs.
Yeah, I think so. We had a very random start. I think if we give the listeners a lot to listen to at the beginning. That wasn't just the questions. So I hope the listeners appreciated that. Always remember to open up your dips when you're trying to dip some chicken nuggets in it. And remember, guys, we're always here, and you're going to be anonymous, and we're not going to be pushing any kind of agenda on you. It's just literally like you send it in, we read it out, speak on it,
Get our
and
fucked up
then
opinions.
that's the end of that.
But please vote. Vote,
Yes,
follow,
please vote, yeah.
stars. Let's get this going. Let's get an invite. The
Let's
award shows.
Let's get nominated at least.
The award shows in September. There's plenty of time for you to put your votes in. It's going up on our socials. Let's do this. If everyone that listens to the show voted, we'll make a pretty good dent.
Yeah, definitely. Again, guys, if you've got any feedback, any content ideas, or any questions for the show, send it in for twomennohope@gmail.com. That's twomennohope@gmail.com. And that's it from me. I'll see you on Monday, Dan.
See you later, man.